I wasn't really sure how the sunrise was going to work out when I left the house at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I almost turned back, but I'm pretty glad I kept going. The sky overhead had been cloudy and there was a bit of forest fire smoke in the air, but it created this. A big orange ball sunrise like that is exactly what I was hoping for. And luckily I found these horses too. With the clouds in the sky and the smoke, this wasn't going to last long. But then that first blush of sunrise light, it never does. It was golden and copper and amber for about 20 minutes, and then that was it. A quick look to my right to find this blue heron, and its cousin, this black-crowned night heron, and these ibises. And, well, the light was changed completely. And that was perfectly fine. I was all by myself out in the prairie, driving across these gorgeous grasslands, finding antelope, and thousands upon thousands of sunflowers. They were everywhere along the roadsides, those big nodding yellow faces. I've got to admit it was a bit of a surprise seeing so many of them in a droughty year like this. And these bee plants too. Down along the Red Deer River, tons of buffalo berries. And those big, gorgeous cottonwood trees. Man, I love these prairie giants. They grow along all of southern Alberta's waterways, and I just love the sound of the wind in their leaves and the way they spread out and cast their shade. Shade that shelters things like cottontails. But you don't have to go very far to find country with very little shade at all. Out here, the remnants of old homesteads stand pretty stark. Tough country for people, but meadowlarks like it. Bald eagles, too. But a dry year like this can be tough on, well, pretty much everything. These cattle were hocked deep in sagebrush and a little bit surly. And even the prickly pear cactus pads seemed a little bit thin. And probably not the best place for it, but I'd already been on the road for several hours, so I just kicked back and had myself a little bit of a nap. But there was still plenty more to see, so after a few minutes I got back on the road. Meadowlarks were absolutely everywhere. And I found what has to be the last cactus blossoms of the year. So glad these ones decided to wait for me. I was kind of closing a loop now, heading back toward Wolf Lake and the places where I'd photographed the horses at sunrise earlier. The day had cleared, though there was still smoke in the sky and storms were starting to build up. I set up my cameras and shot some time lapses as the clouds rolled in. And after that, I headed on home. I was tired, but if you want to see things like this out on the prairie, you kind of got to get up early.